Good morning, cute friends. I am so excited to share this recipe with you guys today. It is my Grandma Ambs' banana bread, and it is found on page 40 of my Volume 1 cookbook. Today is National Banana Bread Day. Did you guys know that? So I thought I'm gonna share this recipe. I have made this recipe before, kind of a long time ago, but today what I'm gonna do, instead of making it into loaves of bread, I'm just gonna make them into muffins. So let's get started. So first we're just gonna add our dry ingredients. So I've got 1 1/4 cups of flour, and then I'm going to add 3/4 cup of sugar, and then we're going to add 1/2 teaspoon of salt and 3/4 cup of baking soda. And then I'm just gonna stir this around and get it mixed really well. And then I'm just gonna add, the recipe actually says in the book to mix your wet ingredients separately, but you know what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna make a little well right here in the middle, and I'm going to take my eggs. I've got 2 eggs that are beaten, and I'm just gonna pour them right here in the middle. And then I'm going to add 1/3 cup of vegetable oil. And then we're gonna add 1 cup of bananas mashed. And then to this, I'm gonna add, now this is optional, but this is 3/4 teaspoon of lemon rind. And this, you guys, oh my goodness, adds just this really extra yummy flavor that will surprise you. So we're gonna mix this up well. Now I'm gonna add about 1/2 cup of chopped pecans. This is optional. You don't have to add nuts if you don't want to. A lot of people don't like nuts, but I do, so I'm gonna add them. And now it's time to just spoon this batter right into my muffin tins. I have greased these, and I've also preheated the oven to 350. So here's a funny thing. Sometimes I fill them up too much, and then I have the one that doesn't have enough in it. So I just take a little scoop out of each one. And, you know, it's kind of a guesstimation of how high you need to fill these. But that's what I do. Just when I'm lacking in that one, it's usually always that last one. So then I'm gonna scoot that over so it doesn't burn. And then I'm gonna put this in the oven at 350, and I'll be back. All right, so these muffins have been in the oven for about 20 minutes, and they have been smelling so good, you guys. Look, my grandmother would be so proud. Okay, so I'm gonna let these cool for just a minute, and then we'll do a taste test. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of just tip these like this to let them cool. And you know, I was thinking, today is actually my Grandma Ambs' birthday, and I wanted to tell you guys a little bit about her. So she was one of 3 daughters and grew up in Michigan, and she married my grandfather at a really young age. And then she and my grandfather had 8 children, and my mother is the oldest of her 8. What's really kind of fun and sweet about my grandmother is, I don't know if she thought about this at the time, but she and my mother actually ended up having like 3 children really close together. So I have an aunt. So my grandmother's youngest child, Janice, is just a year older than me. And so we went to high school together. So it was really super fun. But because of that, I spent a lot of time at their house because I would spend the night at their house a lot. And so I got to be with my grandmother all the time and my grandfather, and they were so much fun. Like seriously, my grandmother, she had the funnest personality. She always kept a journal, which are treasures in our family. My grandfather was a farmer. I've shared that with you guys. He was a farmer. He had hundreds of acres of carrots and corn, sold those carrots and corn to Del Monte, but my grandmother did the books. I remember sitting there watching her like pay all the people and write all the checks and everything. She was so incredibly supportive of my grandfather. And my grandfather, at the end of his life, he actually suffered a stroke. He was out, once he retired, he was always out just helping all the people. And so anyway, but he had a stroke, and it was a very debilitating stroke. And my grandmother and all of my aunts and uncles and my mom lived close in Florida. And so they took a day a week to help my grandmother care for my grandfather. Anyway, their relationship and their marriage has always been such a foundation for, I believe, all of us in our family, and especially for me. Like, I remember my grandfather saying to me one time, he was like, Annie, marriage is all about commitment. And I've thought about that many, many times. Anyway, I just wanted to share a little bit about her because she really, really was one of a kind, and I just love her. So I'm gonna move these out of the way, and I have gotten myself a little pat of butter, and I'm just gonna take a little taste of this, put a little butter right in the middle, and then I'm gonna taste it for you guys. That is so good. I wish you guys were here because I would share it. And that lemon, remember there's a little bit of lemon rind in there. It's not lemony. It gives it just a little bit of a zest, little tang to it. It's really, really good. You guys should try it. Okay, thanks so much for joining me, everyone. And as I love to remind you to do, remember to be stronger every day and know that you can do hard things. And I will see you soon. Bye.